Welcome back to another podcast of Serendipity Travel. I do want to go on here before this episode starts and have a full disclosure for the Serendipity Travel. I know this is probably going to be episode 3. I've been thinking about this because I just want to keep it very transparent with you guys. Serendipity Travel is currently in its test phase, so we're testing this whole thing out. With the growing demand for podcasts and limited time and gear on our side, we decided to explore the power of AI to help bring you the latest in travel news, trends, stories as fast and efficiently as possible. What that means is the voices that you guys are hearing on these podcasts, it's not my voice or Andrea's voice. So what we're doing, these are AI generated voices based on ideas, experiences, and the world of travel around us. We're using these amazing tools to help us stay consistent, share updates, and connect with you in the community in real time. So we are committed to evolve. We plan to invest in the right equipment and bring you guys real voices like the one you're hearing right now. Andrea is not currently here with me at the moment, but it's the way we always intended, with heart, authenticity, and quality. So thank you for being here with us, supporting our channel and supporting us, the people that follow us as we test and grow. And thank you for your patience as we build something truly special. All right, so today we're diving into an important update you need to hear, especially if the Bahamas is on your radar. The U.S. just reissued a travel advisory for this popular cruise destination, and we are breaking down what it really means. From safety concerns in Nassau and Freeport to tips on staying smart in vacation rentals and being careful with water activities. We've got you covered. We'll even touch upon what happened in Turks and Caicos that's got some travelers stuck and facing legal trouble. It's real out there. So before you book a trip or hop on a cruise, take a few minutes and listen to this episode. I'm pretty sure it's going to help you out. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the deep dive. You've sent over some really timely stuff, this U.S. travel advisory for the Bahamas, and also an article from The Street that's kind of digging into it.
Yeah, it's definitely topical.
Right. So for this deep dive, we really want to, cut through the noise and just get straight to what this means for you, our listeners. Whether you're thinking about a quick cruise stop, maybe planning a longer stay, or honestly just wanting to stay informed about travel safety.
Mm-hmm.
We know your time is valuable, so we want to pull out the crucial bits without getting bogged down. Let's dive in.
Absolutely. And the core of it, like you said, is this updated travel advisory. It's really important, I think, to state right up front, based on the sources, that this isn't a do not travel warning.
Okay, yeah, that's key.
It's more like a continuation, maybe a reinforcement of the advice that's already been there. Exercise increased caution in the Bahamas.
Okay, so exercise increased caution. That's the headline, basically. It's not like a red alert, but it definitely makes you pay attention. What really jumps out at me, though, is the timing. The article points out this update came at the cusp of peak spring break travel season. That feels, pretty intentional, right? Like a specific heads up just as people are making plans.
That's a sharp point.
Yeah.
The timing, it does suggest maybe a proactive step, trying to make sure travelers are aware before the big rush hits.
Mm-hmm.
Less likely it's reacting to some brand new crisis, more like getting ahead of potential issues when, there were just more people around. And what's really interesting in this advisory is how broad the warning is. It stresses that crime can occur anywhere in the Bahamas.
Anywhere. Wow, that's a big statement. It definitely changes the game from just, being careful on the usual tourist spots.
Exactly.
The source actually quotes that directly, doesn't it? Crime that can occur anywhere in the Bahamas. Sounds like a message they really want people to hear.
For sure. And while, yes, the advisory does mention Nassau and Freeport on New Providence and Grand Bahama Islands as where most crime occurs.
Oh, the main hubs.
And this explicit warning about anywhere is, it's crucial, no matter which island you're headed to in the chain. It suggests a sort of general need for just being more aware everywhere.
And drilling down into Nassau, there's that one specific area they flag with a really serious warning, isn't there? The over-the-hill area south of Shirley Street.
Yes.
That sounds particularly concerning. The advisory says, point blank, that gangs have killed residents there. That's pretty stark.
It is very direct. That phrasing, stay alert in the over-the-hill area in Nassau, south of Shirley Street, where gangs have killed residents. It really pinpoints a zone where the danger is seen as particularly high.
A real hotspot within the capital. Makes you wonder about the situation there.
It does. It highlights a specific area needing extreme caution.
Okay, moving on slightly. Lots of people, maybe some listening now, are drawn to vacation rentals, for that more local feel. The advisory touches on that too, suggesting maybe a bit more caution compared to hotels. What's the thinking there?
Well, the advisory points out that these rental properties may not have the same security as hotels. And that's a really practical thing for travelers to think about.
Right. What does that mean exactly? Like fewer guards or...
It could mean a few things. Maybe less consistent security on site, maybe fewer layers like key cards or CCTV, or just, a less established overall security setup compared to a big hotel chain.
Okay, I see.
It raises a good question for anyone weighing like the privacy of a rental against the maybe more standardized security of a hotel.
That's a really important point, actually, something you might not immediately think about when comparing places. Okay, shifting gears a bit, water safety. The advisory brings this up, which seems maybe a little separate from crime, but the reason they give kind of ties back into unexpected risks.
Yeah, it's interesting how they frame it. The quote is quite telling. Watercraft operators sometimes ignore weather forecasts, the advisory reads further. Always follow local weather and marine alerts.
Ah, okay. So it's less about like dangerous currents inherently and more about human factors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It seems to be a warning about potential negligence or, people cutting corners. It really underlines that you shouldn't just rely on the operator for safety info. You got to proactively check the weather. Check the marine forecasts yourself.
Right. Good reminder. Be proactive. Check things yourself. Don't just assume. Okay, now the advisory also seems to draw a line, maybe implicitly, to those incidents in Turks and Caicos recently. Why is that relevant if you're planning a trip to the Bahamas?
Well, if you look at the bigger picture, traveling in the region, being aware of local laws everywhere, the advisory seems to use those unfortunate cases in Turks and Caicos, Americans getting into serious legal trouble for things like stray bullets.
Yeah, I remember reading about that, the Oklahoma guy.
Exactly. He's mentioned as a kind of cautionary tale.
Yeah.
It really hammers home how vital it is to look beyond just crime stats and actually research the specific laws of where you're going, even seemingly small things.
Yeah, the article goes into how he claimed he didn't know about the ammunition laws, faced possible jail time, got stuck there for months, and ended up with a huge fine.
The quote from the advisory itself is pretty chilling. Police strictly enforce these laws, even at the airport when travelers are leaving. Some U.S. citizens have been detained and unable to depart for several weeks or more after being found with bullets in their luggage. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About what you might accidentally have.
It absolutely does. And the advisory is using this very public example from, a nearby country to stress a universal travel truth. You're subject to the laws of the country you visit, period. Ignorance isn't really a defense.
A crucial point.
And that applies everywhere, obviously, not just the Bahamas. It just highlights how important that pre-trip homework is, beyond just booking your flights and hotels.
Definitely a sobering thought. Do your homework. But despite all these concerns being flagged, it's kind of amazing when you look at the tourism numbers for the Bahamas that you shared. They're huge.
They really are. The numbers show just how popular the destination still is. We're talking over 11.2 million international visitors in 2024.
And get this, over 5.6 million cruise passenger disembarkations in Nassau alone, a record, in that same year. These are massive figures. It clearly shows the appeal is still incredibly strong.
And the Street article even notes that the big cruise lines are still running tons of trips there. So even with this exercise increased caution advisory, it doesn't seem like it's massively stopping people from going.
And that's a really key takeaway, I think. The advisory isn't really saying cancel your trip.
No, not at all.
It's more about promoting informed choices, responsible behavior while you're there, being aware of the risks, taking sensible precautions, understanding the local context, even in a place that's super popular with tourists.
Okay, so let's wrap this up with the key insights from this deep dive. For you listening, the main points are, the Bahamas is still incredibly popular, but be aware, crime can occur anywhere. Be extra vigilant in Nassau, especially that over-the-hill area. If you're opting for a vacation rental, think a bit more about security. Always check water conditions yourself. Don't just rely on operators. And crucially, remember that Turks and Caicos example research and follow all local laws no matter how small they seem.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It really boils down to finding that balance, doesn't it? Enjoying your trip, the allure of the place, but doing it with a proactive, informed approach to your safety and, well, staying on the right side of the law.
So here's something to maybe think about after we finish. Given how incredibly popular the Bahamas remains, attracting millions despite these ongoing safety advisories, what does that really tell us about how we as travelers weigh things up? That balance between wanting relaxation, fun, escape, and needing to stay aware of potential risks out there. How do you personally make that calculation when deciding where and how to travel?
It's complex, right? Definitely something to mull over.
All right, guys, thank you for riding with us on this episode of Serendipity Travel. If you've been to the Bahamas recently, or if you're planning a trip, let us know your thoughts. Have you felt safe? Got any local tips that you want to share? Drop a comment, follow us on Instagram, YouTube at Serendipity Travel, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and like always, life is in session. Vlog it. Later.